taking drivers in, uh, seeing if they speak English, and then testing them on basic skills that would allow them to be certified to then go to the DOT to get a license. So these are commercial driver's license schools. And a lot of these students are coming through these schools. They can't speak the language, and many of them are not proficient in the English language. Many of them don't have the skills to operate these big rigs on the roads. But nonetheless, these schools are certifying that they're qualified. Not only that, they don't have documentation that they're citizens. So we are going to go after the CDL mills.
Man, I'm glad we got a great secretary now. He's doing what the other previous secretary should have been doing. It all starts with education. Education, education, education. These CDL schools are the one of the biggest scams in trucking. So how does a person that's a legal immigrant get a CDL license? Well, they'll go to a state like California, New York, get a license. Now they say that they are a resident, but then they'll go to CDL school. But they don't go to the CDL school, let's say that's put on like by somebody like me that doesn't speak the language. They go to a CDL school that is put on by somebody that does speak their language. So they're not even actually learning everything in English. They're learning it in their language. This is how they get around it. This is how they're getting the teachings. So that's how they're getting these licenses. They're not going to real CDL schools that have real federal standards that are ran by Americans. They are ran by people from different countries that can speak their language, that happen to speak a little bit better English than them. And then they get to come there and get their CDL license and get their CDL training. But it all starts with the CDL schools. As Secretary Duffy will call it, the CDL mills. Biggest scam ever. If I'm Indian, I'm going to come in and go to an Indian trucking school because I don't really need to learn English. I can just speak it in Punjabi and be able to get my license and be able to get the lessons from them. So that's what you have to understand. Like when we talk about these illegal immigrants, truckers coming into the U.S. and how they're doing it, this is how they're doing it. And I'm glad we have somebody in office that's actually looking at it and understanding, like, you know what? This isn't right. I wholeheartedly feel that the Department of Transportation needs to take over the CDL system. You need to be able to have a certification, accreditation, whatever you need to do to be able to teach a CDL school, just like how we do colleges, just like how we do universities and all of that. We need to have those same type of laws and those same type of accreditation standards to be able to do that. Because if you do have that and a person comes, they can't speak the language, I'm sorry, we can't help you. Look, people try to say, well, it's not a big deal. It's not, it is a huge deal. Okay, this is America. I can't go to any other country and speak English and be able to get a CDL license, be able to even work there. So why is that fair here? You know, we just have somebody in office. We have somebody as a secretary that's just smart, that sees the writing on the wall, that sees that this isn't right. This is affecting American jobs. This is affecting Americans being able to be a truck driver and make at least six figures a year. Because we have people coming into this country using up their using up our resources, being able to get a license easily without even speaking the language, and then they be able to go to CDL school and get taught in their own language. But then they go and get a CDL tester at some of these DMVs. That's their same type of people, so they're scamming the system. They're not even getting tested by their own people. They make sure they go to a DMV where they know that is heavily populated in their region. Just like we talk about, I'm in California, we talk about Fresno, Bakersfield, huge Punjabi community. So you don't think that the DMV testers at those areas are Punjabi or Indian? It just makes sense, right? If I'm coming from a different country, I'm going to find my like-minded people and I'm going to get ahead with my people. But that's not fair. You got to be able to understand the language and comprehend the language, not just say guessing and stuff like that, but we have these laws in place for a reason. It's been a federal law for the longest. We just finally have an administration that's saying this is too much. It's all about safety. They call this racism. Look, man, there's a lot of immigrant truckers that come out here that actually learn the language, that actually go through the process, and they are great truckers. That's what we want. We don't want people cheating the system. Because when you have people cheating the system, you have crashes like we have in Ontario. We have crashes like we have in Florida. We have all these type of crashes by immigrants because simply they just don't understand the rules. They think they are back home. So we have to understand and think and say, look, this isn't right. We have to have some type of order, but I've been preaching this for years now. It starts with the education. Everybody wants to skip over the education and trucking. But while you're skipping, the immigrants are skipping too. So we have to have something that can keep the door closed, shut, and keep it from people getting into this industry so easily. But everybody said, nah, man, we don't need education. We just need to worry about the brokers. You don't need to worry about the brokers. As long as you have a CDL school program that's actually federally mandated, as long as you have the CDL license that's given out by the federal government, you don't have to worry about the brokers because the brokers will automatically go with the market. Okay, we got to give the people what they want and what they need. It's because we don't have cheap drivers on the road. So let's stop worrying about the brokers. The brokers will get their turn, but we have to worry about we have this huge crisis of illegal immigrant truckers coming in and getting their CDLs so easily. So they come in this country, go to a state like California or New York, get some type of resident card. Then they go to a CDL school owned by their own people. They get their CDL training through them, which is not really great. Then they go to a DMV where they actually are getting tested by their own people. They're going to make sure they go to the DMV that has their people administering the test. They get their CDL, and then they work for a company of their own people. Don't you get it? Don't you understand and see the process as I break it down? This is the reason why it has been so bad. It's because of immigration. That's the reason why we have bad rates. That's the reason why the brokers are making so much money. It's because they don't need you, American trucker. We don't need you. Why would we need you now when we can go ahead and get these illegal immigrant truckers and cross our fingers because we know that they're going to take anything because the money they're making here, they're sending back home anyway. And we know they're making more money here than they would back home. So you have to understand, and we really have to push and say, look, man, it's only right that everybody speaks English, proficient English, and understand English. I feel like let's go another. I feel like you need to have at least a high school degree or a EL or a GED before you become a trucker. That's the type of stuff we need to have because when you have that, now it's going to be harder for people to take over the industry. You have to have roadblocks. Every industry that's hard to get into, those are the people that get paid. Look at pilots, look at doctors, look at lawyers. It's because they have an educational requirement that's keeping people from coming in and dominating the industry. So trucking is lacking a education roadblock. If we put education first in trucking, don't you think that trucking will get a lot better? If we put these roadblocks and say, hey, you need to have a high school degree or a GED. You need to be able to understand English proficiency. You got to be able to go to a real CDL school that's federally mandated, that's under accreditation. You have to go to a real CDL school as well. So these are the things that I'm saying. So you see how education slows them down? You see how it's like, you know what? I came to this country. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do something else. Trucking is too easy to get into. I've been preaching this to everybody in the trucking industry, and people were calling me crazy. No, it's the brokers. It's not the brokers, man. Stop worrying about the brokers. The brokers move with the market. You see how rates are starting to come up a little bit already? It's because they know. You see how the brokers now are asking for American truckers? It's because they're going with the market. If the market says we can use immigrant truckers and pay them cheap, we're going to do it until somebody stops us. So you have to understand that in trucking, let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the people coming in the industry. How do we stop that? How do we slow them down? We had an education requirement. Everybody in trucking will make at least six figures. If we have an education requirement, everybody in trucking will make six figures because now you have people coming from other countries. They can't just hop in a truck. Damn, I got to get a GED at least. That means I got to learn a language. Then I got to comprehend the language. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I ain't got time to do that. I got to do something else. Get into something else. Or I won't come to America. But trucking is one of those jobs that's been overridden because it's too easy. But I'm glad we just have a secretary that's looking at it now and is just like, you know what? This ain't right. How can we make trucking better? It's not about the brokers. It's not about the rules. It's about education. It's about putting a roadblock and making sure everybody can understand the language, making sure everybody's on an even playing field to start. That's all it is. They exploited the system. The doors are open for them. They exploited it. You would do the same thing too if it's easy for you. If you can go to another country and become a trucker tomorrow without any ramifications, without any type of education, you would do it. It's just common sense. So you can't get mad at the people coming over here. They game the system. They know the system and they use it to their advantage. But we are the ones that are the creator of the system. We have people in administration and policymakers that need to go ahead and say, we need to have an education requirement. So you can't get mad at the immigrants, man. Everybody wants to say the immigrant. You can't get mad at them because the doors was open, wide open for them. But now we have to use education to shut the door and make it harder for anybody to get in. We have bonehead American truckers getting in and getting in the truck and don't even understand the language, don't even understand the rules, don't even care about the rules. But if you put education in front of people before a career, a lot of people won't do it. Why? It's because we have a generation of people now that don't want to work. So if you say you got to get education, you got to actually learn the business, you got to go to accredited school, you got to be in CDL school for 6 months to a year, like a trade. Now we're talking everybody's going to be making six figures. Now everybody in trucking going to be making plumber, electrician money. It's because now you have the golden ticket. It should be a privilege to have a trucking CDL license, not a given right. So I really feel that really, if you're watching this video, you need to really say to yourself, do we need to worry about people coming in and making it harder for people coming in, or do we need to worry about brokers? We don't need to worry about brokers. We need to worry about the CDL education, making that harder, making that longer, making it not so easy for anybody to come in. So think about this, man. But if you got any comments about this, leave a comment below. I love your comments. Thank you for following, subscribing. But make sure you just listen to what I say in these videos because it's coming from not a position of hate. It's coming from a position of making the industry great again.